Hey y'all, I got a lot of questions about how I lit up the old train shed, and I kind of stuck that quickly at the end of the video. And since I've got a couple questions about it, I thought I would just kind of go over how I did it and how I kind of approach most of my alt builds or mocks or whatever the case might be for custom lighting. And kind of show you just kind of quickly the parts and how I kind of deal with it. So I'm going to pop the old train shed open and we'll take a look at what I did. So actually, before I pop it open, let's just take a look at it kind of as is. The cool thing about lighting, especially like closed in things like this, is that you can see right in the windows now. If the lights are off, you can't really see in the windows. And so it kind of really makes the interiors not really worth anything, because you can't see. So being able to see inside them is definitely one of the primary reasons why I started adding lighting to my city. As you can see, this half is really pretty well lit. We'll cover some more of that later at some other point when I get a couple more things done. But, I said I was working on this side and slowly working across. So when I built this, I thought before I get this all put in place and tidied up, because it's going to be annoying to get back out with the whole tracks and just, I kind of intend to build this in pretty hard. I thought I might as well just go ahead and add the lights a while. And since I had all this stuff handy, it was pretty easy to do. I'm going to show you the components that I used because it will be easier to see that. It'll be able to kind of visualize how this all goes together once you see the individual components. Okay, so these are going to be kind of hard to see, but these are kind of the individual components that I use. On the top side of the shed, you'll see a couple of these, and they come in two different sizes. This is kind of like the longer size, this is kind of the narrower size. And the cool thing about these is they have an in and an out, so you kind of like chain them together, which you'll see I've chained 3 of these across the top of the shed to add some lighting to, or just add some general light in there. But these are also kind of nice for a little bit tighter space. Of course, Harley decides to play with the squeaky toy right now. But anyways, so you'll see these used. I also have, I think it's this size, on the underside of the little cabin on the back as well. Again, just to add some light into the space. All of the lamps are on the side, and on the outside have one of these guys stuck inside of them. And you can go back and watch some of my other lighting videos about how I actually get them into the fixtures. But for the short version, this end fits through the holes in the bottom or the holes in studs. And so I'm able to kind of fish them through the bottom of a light to kind of stick them in there. And then they come in 2 different lengths. This is the 15 centimeter and this is the 30, I think. And I just use it based on whatever length I need. I guess I should also mention that all these are from Game of Bricks. That's just who I've used. I found that their components are kind of the cheapest and their kits are the cheapest. And they usually have pretty good sales. This is not a sponsored video. I've just found that their stuff works very well. I will say if you're going to reuse stuff, you might need to go to a little bit higher quality because their wires are kind of thin. And I've actually had one fail on me just recently because I had reused it a couple different times, had bent it quite a bit, and it just kind of wore through. So not the highest quality, but definitely the most bang for your buck, and especially for what I'm doing, where I'm just kind of sticking them into a building and leaving them. They're not getting reused over and over and over. They're perfect for that. So those are the lighting elements. And the powering elements I have a bunch of these connector cables, and they come in various lengths. And then I also made use of this wireless connection for the hand cart. So this is on the bottom side of the hand cart. This is on the tracks, and then this runs down into the base, and that's how the hand cart gets power. So if I want to move the hand cart, I can just pick it up and roll it on down the track. One other component is that the one that I don't have right now because I'm out, they're all currently in use, and you've probably seen me use them before, and you'll see them in the actual train shed, is the kind of they look like a circuit board, and they come in different sizes, and they are just ways to connect all these together into one thing. And then eventually it goes down to a USB cable like this. But I also will use those circuit boards to combine a couple different buildings together so that I have less USBs running into my main power source, which again, I've showed that all in other videos. But I just thought I would point these things out just so that you can kind of see, just so you know what you're looking at when I go to pop the shed open. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual shed itself. Okay, so on the outside, like I said, I have just those individual kind of bit lights inside here, and you can see the wire kind of comes up the back side, gets wrapped around here, and then just goes through the bricks. Same thing here. This one goes in a little bit higher. Doesn't really matter. It was just kind of whatever popped off the easiest. You can see here, this one came out of the bottom, went right through that brick. And similarly on the back side, I can't really get to the back side very easy. Same thing here. It just pops through between those two tiles. And you can see the wires coming up from the stuff in here popped up through there. And so let me pop the top off here. And I don't have a lot of room to move, but you can see there is those strip lights. The kind of wire path is from there, goes up to the top, and because they have pass-throughs on them, it passes through all the way down to there, and there you can see the circuit board where things are all kind of connected into. You can see on the inside the wires kind of just go up to the top here, and I use the kind of the railing of the crane to kind of hide a lot of the wires, and so that's where I've hit a lot of the wires, as it runs kind of underneath there. The wires are super thin, so you can get them pretty tight between bricks. And so the crane still moves and rolls fine. There's no issues there at all. And then I just use the crane on that and just kind of hide that. Because ultimately it doesn't super matter, because you know, you're not going to see it once this is actually closed. And I'm going to keep the crane down that way anyways. So it didn't super matter to me as far as that goes. Let me set that down carefully. And then back here, you can see there's the main input wire. There's the light in there. And then I actually have, you can kind of see a little bit flickering there against, let me see if I can get it to focus down there. You can see it against the fig and against the log, the flickering in the fireplace down there. That's what that multicolored wire is going down to. But that wire that's coming in from the top there is going in to feed those lights, and then goes down to feed that that multicolored light. The other wire that you see there going underneath that dark brown brick is the feed for the light outside here. You can see it kind of just goes in, runs along the wall, and cuts in there. And then that wire there is actually the main feed for the whole building. So this whole building runs down to one wire. Oops, sorry. I want to make sure this gets in there. And just runs down the back side and goes on down underneath the platform. Now let me talk about this. So I said it was wireless. So there's the wireless connection. You can see I just have two lights, one on the front, one on the back. Gosh, it is doing all kinds of bad zooming things. So just a light on the front, light on the back. I do have these bricks that kind of hold it down, because until this kind of wears in a little bit, it wants to kick the thing up and not work very well. But you can see the wire kind of runs along there and then down under, and then it's fed underneath all of the stuff underneath to make its way on over. And there's another little tiny connector board back there for where this connects into the main feed. And so I'm able to, oops, this shouldn't have come up with that. I am able to, this is able to roll along however it wants to, even though it has lighting in it. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so there's you can see, gosh, this focus is really not focusing. Sorry, y'all. You can see there's a circuit board in there to connect the three lights and to connect the power source. And then it does matter which way this sits on here, because LEDs are polarized. And so it does matter, but you can see it doesn't take much for it to actually light up there. So yeah, so the way that I do it is it runs down, it connects in, and I'll show you over here, because all of that's in the way to see what's actually going on. You can see here, this is for the forested side. You can see I have a couple things running into that one, and then runs out to a USB, and then the USB runs over to my main power hub, which is right there. And you can see I have a bunch of other things plugged in there, and then it just plugs into a normal wall outlet. And so I have this all on a Wi-Fi connector too, so I can turn it on and off via Wi-Fi. And yeah, so I think it's kind of hard for me to tell because you buy these in like packs of 10. I think these are in packs of 5. These are in packs of 20, or I'm sorry, 12. So it's hard to really kind of actually get a good guesstimate on what it costs to light. I would put in the range of maybe 20 to 30 bucks. You need 3 of these. You need some connector wire. If you want to do this, you need one of these. You need 4, 6, 7, 8. You need 8 of these of the 2 different lengths. I used a lot of the shorter ones actually in this, because it wasn't going very far, but you definitely needed some long ones to make it all the way back to that back corner. So you need 8 of those. You need the little flickering one, which actually came from Brick Stuff and not from Game of Bricks. And then you need that connector board. So I'm thinking it's probably about 20 or 30 bucks worth of stuff, but you probably have to pay like 60 bucks to get all the stuff, maybe even a little more than that, just because it comes in packs of stuff. But then, you know, you have other parts to do other things. Like when I do all of these are all custom things. You know, they're all parts and stuff, as was this and the club and the tree down there. So that's all customized stuff that I just bought parts for. And if you've seen my gardens lit up, my gardens is all just parts as well. And so once you've done a couple of kits, you just kind of figure out how you're doing it. And Harley wants to say hi. Hi, buddy. You just kind of get a feel of what needs lit and where things need to go. And you kind of figure it out after you've built a couple of the kits. So when I started, I built, what did I do? I did the Palace Cinema. I did the Jazz Club. I did the Grand Emporium. I think I did those 3 first. And so those 3 were all kind of very different. You know, these 2 have, you know, motion type things on here, different color lights, different flashing stuff, kind of going all over the place. The Grand Emporium is very basic. And so that kind of taught me a lot of things about just kind of doing just stationary light, but also kind of working it into some other parts, you know. And so I learned a lot from doing those 3. And so when I went to do these, I had kind of figured out where I needed to add lights and stuff. And so that's kind of carried over into this. And this one is very simple. If there was ever a non-kitted set to try to light for yourself, it's this one. It pops back apart pretty easily. You don't have to disassemble a whole bunch of it to get the wires through. It's very obvious where you put lights. Like obviously the lights on the outside obviously need a light in them. The lights on the inside need one, just because I think it's important if you look inside that you see the lights in there lit up. I think if you looked in there and you didn't see them lit up, but you see light in there, I think that would look unusual. And then obviously you needed lights across the top. So it was very obvious kind of where those things needed to go. Unlike some other alt builds where it's maybe not so obvious. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful to those of you that want to light your old train shed. Again, great build. I love this build. And this is my white whale that I'm still waiting to get the receiver to be able to run it. But, you know, this is actually what kind of kicked off needing to get the Emerald Knight, was that I knew the train shed was coming. I knew that that was in mind when the designer made this. And so I felt like I needed to get it after I got this. But anyways, make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned for some more. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I am usually pretty good about answering questions, or send me a message on Instagram. I'm pretty good about answering questions there as well. And I'll definitely be doing some more lighting stuff as I get into this area. I have parts coming to start lighting up this area, so I will try to do some more lighting videos if you guys are interested in that. And make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned for some more stuff. Thanks, y'all.